Welcome back, friends. APAC North continues, and we're off past the halfway mark at Game 3. Yeah, our second one was really quick. But now it's Spear Gaming versus FAV Gaming. Two teams at the bottom of the standings, so they are fighting for relegations. And after that, we'll have a big fight for the top 4, and maybe somebody can get some SI points out of it, but that's for later in CAG versus Reject. Let's have a chat about Spear and FAV, starting off with FAV. Fabian.
Well, FAV have been very much struggling this past stage. They've been only gathered 2 points, I'm pretty sure, so far, which means that they've lost every game, and they've had 2 overtime losses. So they've at least taken it to 6 rounds twice. It's something. It's hard to look at this team, because they did play pretty decently in stage 1, I'd say. I'd say that winning 3 games and losing 4 it was somewhat acceptable for them. But they seem to get... I don't know. They seem to make a lot of mistakes. They seem to make a lot of individual plays, which then leads to them getting killed, which leads to the round opening up. They seem to play some odd strats. I have a hard time really reading into them and seeing what they're doing right, because right now I don't see that part. We have seen number 2 and Afro kind of stepping up, but it needs more from those 2 players. And the Ramu effect we were talking about in stage 1 seems gone.
And Jack, we've been talking about this over the past couple of years, that FAV is always that team at the middle, and then they got to the point where, yeah, they can crack the top 4, much like Talon, but that's not happening anymore.
No, and it's hard to come and then compound that onto what Fabian's saying, but it appears to me that they just don't speak to each other inside of the server. I think that's probably, communication, I would say, is the cause of a lot of teams' problems, and I think that's becoming very apparent with FAV. And I'm wondering if, you know, it was the start of stage 1 where we was all getting a little bit excited about FAV as a roster, and it's never really materialized since then. They've got some quality, but they've got some big issues they need to fix. Well,
Spear Gaming on the other side also has some issues to look into, because, you know, they started off the stage with 7-5 loss against CAG. At that point, CAG were seen as a team that actually, yeah, they are in the top 3 of the region, and then just kept on dropping. But they did collect 3 points off of a victory, Fabian.
Well, they collected 3 points against Reject of all teams, and Reject have been playing well up until then. I've been very reluctant to give a judgment on Spear this stage, because obviously they have their coach stepping in instead of one of their star players in 11. So it's hard to really say, yeah, I've been always saying, oh yeah, I can't judge them because they have their coach. I can't judge them because they have their coach. Well, now it's the last game of the stage, and they still have their coach. So it is the roster that they have right now, and they obviously haven't been looking as good. It's been rough for them, but I think that they have been innovative. They have tried new stuff, and it's not just because they have 3 points. It doesn't say too much, because they've tried stuff.
I think so. It's a tricky situation, and I've said this a couple of times now. It's tricky when you lose your best player to Sandbox, and then you lose your second best player to surgery or illness or whatever it was, and you're scrambling around to pick up players to try and represent just a roster, right? Because in stage 1, they were actually going places as this roster. They were getting very competitive in most games against most teams. Sure, not winning them out, but they had a platform to build on. They've got to completely rebuild that, even if you think about going into stage 3.
Seor and Royboy haven't really shown up on the new pickups either. Then that was probably the biggest reason why they fallen. They lost 2 of their best and haven't really been able to replace them with the same quality.
Well, our map for the series then, like I was saying, this is a big fight for relegations, setting up stage 3 for both of these squads, because relegations is only at the end of the year. Chalet is our map for this one. Spear will have the final say. They'll take out Border, start off on defense, as FAV have picked up the attack. Jackers?
I seem to remember FAV playing Chalet a lot during the past few stages and throwing a lot in man advantage, and that's been one of their big problems. So, you know, neither team, I'm just looking quickly at the records there, neither team's really got a good record on it. Both teams have played at this stage, lost it. Both teams played it last stage and lost it. Both against Talon and Sandbox, believe it or not.
The map, I think, it doesn't really lean either way. And me saying that, oh, I think it might lean a little bit more into Spear's favor than it does into FAV's, kind of comes from the idea of neither team have been good at attacking. Now they're going on a map where it's important to attack, and Spear gets the defense. I think it might lean a little bit more into Spear's favor, because they have been more innovative. They've been playing with Sense, for example. They've been trying new stuff.
They tried a really nice Osa plant in stage 1, if I remember rightly, in Dining.
So they have these ideas that really work. And I mean, if you look back at T1, when they were back in T1 still, in stage 1. They did, as you said, with Osa, but they also had very innovative defenses where they used Goyo before anyone really started to use it. So they have really good brains in Spear. I think that Chalet is a map where they can fit that in, and I don't think FAV has the same abilities with their heads. Maybe shooting back they can, but the brains not so much.
Who knows? We saw Fnatic doing a lot of preparation to get them to where they did. Maybe today that'll be the same for either FAV or Spear, but we're going to have to head into the server to get it done. It's on Chalet. Gentlemen, thank you very much, Fabian Fresh. Let's toss it to our caster. Why am I doing this all day? It's... FAV and Spear to our casters. Happening.
Honestly, why is this a team today? Everybody's just snapping their fingers at each other, pointing. Milosh is looking like a crap now. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Let's just head into the server. Let's just go.
There's nothing for me to add. Thank you.
There we go.
Spear versus FAV. It's the story of two teams that have struggled this split. FAV pulled one of their 2 points on the most recent Playday. The other one was on the very first Playday. Spear pulled all of their 3 points on the most recent Playday. Technically, they're both on and up, but I guess only one of them can leave the day with that continuing.
Yeah, only one of them will be able to define the majority of the points here today, because we do no longer have ties. Now, if any of you might have been wondering, all right, Hap, you always talk about steaks.
Yeah,
not the meat, but like...
Oh, I thought you were hungry.
No. Well,
This
yes,
whole time.
but it's fine. But at the same time, you're looking at it, and it's like, okay, well, the top 4 get aside points. Have these 2 teams an opportunity to reach top 4? I can be very short about that. The answer is going to be no. Way too far back, not enough games to make that comeback happen. So the next thing we start looking at, Emmy, is going to be relegations. It's the overall standings. And you know where these 2 teams are currently located?
No,
We have number 8, FAV, with 11 points.
Okay.
Number 7, Spear, 12 points.
Oh.
Those are instant relegations.
What's the jump to 6th?
Well, that is Reject, 15 points.
Ah.
So today, Spear has the opportunity to close that gap completely.
Can I just keep pushing you?
Yes, you can.
How many points of those 15 did Reject get from this split?
Let me quickly pull that up. I think it was 9 or something like that.
That's a lot.
So they have definitely had a very good stage. Reject currently 9 points indeed. So they had a way better stage than both Spear and FAV combined.
So that gap, that one that these 2 teams are potentially trying to chase to not have themselves in this do or die battle, has gotten further and further. It's going to be trickier to try and make up that gap. They would have to have an outstanding split in the final third. So this points... Oh, it's one of them old-fashioned 6-pointers, Hap.
It definitely is. For the relegation, that is definitely true. Because Spear or FAV have an opportunity to, first of all, hand out a blow towards the other team, but then as well close the gap towards a third team. So we'll be looking at it like that as we continue. No major, no SI points. No, none of that matters here today. It is only about the overall standings that will determine in the end which 2 teams are going to have to play the relegation tournament at the end of stage 3 throughout what is probably going to be December or January.
We find ourselves starting on bar, a lockdown with a little bit of that top floor control. You can see Royal Boy already in the power position, though Omi's going to see how long they can survive there. And if they have to move out, see if they can slip a drop down onto the hatch and tuck themselves around the corner. It can be covered, but it's not the easiest way to get a kill. It's more of a force. To be honest, it's quite rare to actually see them get the lockdown kill on that player in that corner, the suppressor. On the Iana, they have the grenades to try and bait the fight itself. They do have the pressure that can be applied from Flores drones. They might be able to just force the movement in that way, taking a very aggressive play round. That is a run out that hasn't netted anything, but they have found Roy, but I said they don't get the kill every time. They definitely did that one.
Yeah, they're tossing those flashbangs first, and that tells you, that means the grenade is coming up next. We need to start moving. But actually caught up by the ARX. The grenade was not pulled out yet. It's going to be a free entry. Now, Frostmat still keep them at bay, but I believe that just has been taken out as he hops back out towards the balcony. It allows him to play with a bit more security, with a bit more freedom later on in the round when they actually do decide that they want to go for a push. As a bit of a ping coming through, the Frost actually digging in quite deep, and a grenade coming around the corner just zapped by an ADS.
All the candelas start to pop, gets the tail end of it. You can see Shin wants to put the pressure down onto the double window itself. They're trying to force NL out, but Afro's the one with the kit, and he's not in a position to act so quickly. Siora, he's offering the support there to the player on the far side. This, another blind over the top, but, well, they need some movement behind it. It comes number 2. Puts the pressure, Ramo on the back line, forces out that player onto that pillar. All of the necks will start to fall towards the top of the stairs. A minute 19, Siora, he goes for the swing, he finds one, and he doesn't. He does, he finds a second, he finds 3! He had an idea, a hope, a spray, and a pray, and Crazy Boy getting 1. Suddenly Siora said, in a world where everybody's blind, I am king.
Game is over. We could call it a game there. Camera still up. Might have been receiving a little bit of guidance from some of his teammates there, but that insane. Fully flashed, able to pick up the triple kill, coming from multiple directions. Finds the 4th in the end as well. And a round where I was convinced it was going to be FAVs, based on how they open it up, is going to go to Spear due to 1 man and 1 man only.
Okay, the fact that we're going to a technical and the fact that they typed cam makes me think maybe a problem with comms. That's really me putting numbers together and coming to a result.
Yeah,
Do not take that as fact. That's just my assumption. I could be incorrect about that. We're in, again, quite quickly. But also, you would expect a bit of a comms misplay. Even if you had comms, the fact that the 2 players swung around on the candelas, all they had to do was wait for that candela to pop and then swing, and it's a free kill. It was a great swing from Siora to go for the Ying, who obviously has the protection. That was fine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But everybody in that engagement was blind. It was throw everything in the air and 1 player is going to land. It might not have been Siora, but the position he had, the little glimpse at the 2 others he got, and the ability to not have to communicate that to anybody.
Yeah. The thing is as well, Emmy, Ying was the first one to die. So
First to die.
The one person that could actually see.
It was clever from Siora. That one play was very clever, and the other 2 was just the fact that he had the upper hand.
Yeah, he was behind that shield. He had that bulletproof gadget he was sitting behind. And everybody being blind at that moment in time, well, it's literally just a spray and pray, hope for the best. Worked out well. Shimp taking care of the camera quickly here, was about to be swung on that window. Defender actually moving on to the different window now with the SMG-11. Crazy Boy looking out. Might be going for a jump out. Actually decides against it. Falls back a bit deeper into the side as windows and the display cabinets are being opened up just to make sure that you don't have someone just cheekily hiding right behind them, using it to watch through it without really being able to reply.
FAV. Now they put some quick pressure onto the windows. You sort of make a statement and say, if you're going to rotate this way, well, we're going to see you and catch you. That's why Trophy gets cut off there, isolating this side of things, forcing the play potentially from the top over those Solarium stairs. And, well, currently nobody's directly there, but they can try and pressure NL. It's a trade out. Roy Boy and Ramu find 1 apiece, with Typon being the first piece pulled, but they're removing Typon, they're removing the Sophia. The LMG and those charges are going to cause a couple more problems now on the approach. The grenades might have to do a little bit of lifting towards any utility that could otherwise be in the way. There is the tucked in player, the corner, and the hot pings are coming through. A red ping, but it's Siora still popping off, finding 1. They're waiting. The man, Warden, with those glasses, hearing the swing round, the pre-fire, but they're tucked behind the hard wall. There's a attempt and a chance, and there's a take from NL. Here's all the pings. The pressure comes through on the bottom of the staircase itself, but they've just torn this approach apart here.
There's no reason for him to use the glasses here, but he decides to keep them on anyway until the end. Leaves it only up to 1 extra player. So you're having an absolute great game so far. 6-0. Of course, that quad kill in round 1 helps massively. The C4 just not catching Afro. He's trying to sneak around the corner. Might find a ward, and NL close tucked around it as he's about to swing, but the sound just came through. Still will be able to find that kill. The second of Afro swings around. Knows someone was in the bathroom. Will be using these flashbangs, but they land in the bathtub. Will actually not get the flashbang out. now. Kill still. His though. Brings it up to that 1v2. Suddenly it's a lot more doable for FAV.
It's a 2 versus 1, 40 seconds. He's got a drone, he's got the time, and he's got the ability to try and find where they are. If he can isolate these two players, if he can put them into a more difficult position, then he might be able to just push this into a 1 versus 1 versus 1. They are slightly separate, they are tucked, and they do sometimes have a habit of going for the swing. It's whether he can bait it, that's the most important part here.
Crossfire, I think.
Yeah, they have the crossfire. As soon as one gets caught, the other's going to swing round. He's looking for the first. There's the pop, there's the reveal, there's Mephi.
Playing on contact, really smart there. They started to throw it away a little bit. 2 players picked up on the top floor without any response. Here they chose to play on contact. If one would take the engagement, the other one was instantly able and capable of striking back and finishing the kill. And that's a 2-0 coming in for Spear Gaming. A good round, a great round from them, especially around the Solarium side. And I believe a pause has just been called. Now, I'm not sure if that is a tactical or a technical, because we haven't seen. Everybody's still in the lobby. So we're just waiting.
Well, I'll take this moment because I was checking.
Yeah, go ahead. It's all yours.
You're the only person that's predicted FAV.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace.
No, it's only 2 rounds. It's only 2 rounds. But if I'm honest, I couldn't remember who I'd predicted. That's why I went to double check it.
Yeah.
Because I love this roster of Spear. Because they have this habit at the end of a season is when they play their best siege.
No, you're totally right.
You have a look at stage 1. You have a look at when they were in their previous roster, even with full strength on the previous splits. The last 3 Playdays is when they take their points. It's a problem, which keeps them in the relegation fight. But they do technically play their best game. Okay, that first round was a blinding spray around Lost. It was great movement and reaction. But still, you know, a stray bullet, and you never really know.
It should end.
Everybody was
in
blind.
fast favor, right? It's only up to Sayora being able to find the kill onto Gate.
Yeah.
Everybody being blind in about 2 square meters. Everybody just firing their guns at random angles, and Sayora able to find a double kill.
Yeah.
So, well played by him. We cannot say anything else. Like, great decision making there. But if we're honest, if we're objective, FAV should have won that round. They had a very quick and fast clear. Sayora was just the last hurdle they needed to get over before they had complete dominance over that top floor. It's a bit too high of a hurdle, apparently.
Wow. Another moment, another break, and another bit of here for FAV to see if they can try and take something. It is Chalet. Spear have technically already done what they need to on their defense. If they start running away with this, we might start having another runaway game as we've just had in the previous showdown here. A little bit of an idea towards Royboy. He's been able to at least find 1 scratch, but they haven't been able to find them together. That's the big problem. They had the start of a good lead-in on the very first round, to be honest, until that sort of disastrous moment, and that's something that's given Spear a little bit of energy here. Royboy, he's suffering on the swing round. Number 2 gets the cut out and gets that first take. Once again, he is that early body off the board around the same place he was in the first round.
Now, we aren't actually playing for Bar and Gaming, even though there's a lot of pressure currently arising there from the side of FAV. They're working through the hatches. They're starting to open up vertically as well into the library, making sure that they can shut down anybody out there if they would like to rotate underneath those hatches. And of course, there is a man on a mission, and that is going to be Sayora. It's currently around in blue, hoping to go for a late flank. Now, openings are being made very high up. That is just to create a small angle, which they can then use to get a grenade through. That grenade would destroy the Mew Jammer. However, the wall is also soft. They could just go for a simple wallbang, not having to use that grenade. So FAV have 2 options here.
Yeah, it's that sort of idea. It forces the players to not be able to tuck in. They have to swing around in the soft as well. It means an awkward conversation. Whether they're going for the mute jammer or not, they now cannot tuck themselves that close. But they don't need to. NL caught out there. The swing of the showers and the bathroom door. Number 2 is going to move into the free space, and Crazy Boy gets a C4. Ramu's gone off the big double window, but Afro's moved up with the C4. They have an angle, but it's a crossfire. Sayora pops the head round and pops a player down. The 2 FAV players got themselves lined up there. Neither had a clear idea of the angle. Afro, instead of tucking for the plant and trusting the cover of the piano player, just tried to swing into the engagement themselves, and it left 2 birds trying to solve 1 stone's problem. Number 2, he's going to see if he can at least lean back in. There's a rotation from the back that gets caught out. He's doing everything to try and keep FAV in this round, but 15 seconds and a cold kit in the middle of the room. The pre-fire, they know he's angling around it, but they still have the pressure and the mantle of getting this planted. Tucked on the corner, and there's a rotation. The spray comes through. Number 2's actually going to stick it out, though. He does the job that needs to be done. A quick rotation, a 1 versus 1, but it's number 2 to lock in FAV's first round.
Number 2 able to salvage the round there, and as you said, he was right behind the piano. He saw someone dig in deep there, and an Afro stepped up right in front of him, decided it was time to toss in a flashbang. Got picked up. As a result, number 2 unable to provide the cover, and that made it a lot harder for them than was actually going to be necessary. But FAV, they still win the round. They managed to bring it back, salvage that round, because it could have gone wrong very quickly there after that moment struck. Now, Bar Gaming up next again for Spear. This is where we saw the Ying come out from FAV, where we saw the Ying blind a lot of people in the round, we have to say. There's no denying them. The Candelas definitely did their work. Just didn't really result into the expected outcome they wanted to hope for with those Candelas. So if I'm just having a look over towards the attackers, there's currently no repicks coming now. So no Ying currently being brought. It's the 5 that they chose first, and soon they will be locked in. Now the Florist is coming out. I think that's a good pick. There's a lot of utility you can clear. Just look at the double window on games already. A Banshee, 2 Frostmats, 1 well-placed Florist RC Matero. Taking care of all of that. And let alone these ADSs right here on the mezzanines. You're going to be able to at least disrupt that player from playing there, make sure grenades are going to be more effective.
FAV, as said previously, they were leading in on this, but the last round was definitely a number 2 round. He's making sure that he can sort of try and drag them through it, even with the mistakes that are happening around. You hope the same way that it gave Spear Gaming some energy for the following round on there, this can be the drive for FAV. If Spear are able to get 1 more, suddenly an even half, it's kind of dangerous on their turn to go over to the attack. Bit more pressure, and NL suffering out from the wrong side of a grenade, which has been pretty well used so far throughout this by FAV. They were able to pull a couple of bodies. Here, it's going to be the quick burn and the mute jam, the catch, and an easy removal of a Flores drone. Hey, there's a mute jam there.
Yeah, the first Rotero won't be hitting anything. This grenade should be caught up by the ADS, exactly. The second one might follow. No, number 2 waiting a bit too long. And if he really wants to get rid of Royboy there, he needs to act quickly. RC Rotero's coming around the corner. That's the shield of Sayora gone. That's going to be pushing him out of position and allowing them to even get more RCs around the corner to get rid of those ADSs that Mephi's currently playing behind.
More discs being thrown. Royboy's locked in. They need to try and find a way to apply some spirit pressure, but it's Shin that finds an L inside the site. Royboy bites back and has to, but Afro's going to see if they can lead in, gets out. They've got the body down inside it. They can apply some pressure there, but Afro's the man with the kit. That's the big worry. That's the thing they've got to keep an eye on. Mephi's tucked himself in closer. He's opening somebody, drifts around, the flashes, all the swing in the world. There's one. Can't get the second. Afro secures the trade out. 1:10. Sayora's still stacked up in the power position that defined the last time we were here. Crazy Boy is that backline. The quick drop on the drone and the quick retreat. It's a very good move at this point because they know that he's close. So find a new house and find a new way to cause some trouble.
Him going all the way to the basement, though, as he comes back up the Snowboot Garage stairs now, provides a bit of an issue, though, because that means someone is solo on the site. He needs to come back at some point, and with this window being opened up, he's definitely going to be a bit worried about that. So if the push comes in, we definitely need to hope that Crazy Boy's in a good position to stop any clamp from happening. And him opening up this actually gets the down. I was going to say, could be ending up to kill him instead, but they do manage to at least get it down.
Oh, the spray through. They've hopped themselves down, just sees the edge of it, sees the player drop. He's under all the pressure in the world, but he's keeping himself alive until then. There's the spray now. Sayora, he gets 1, he gets 2. It's just the plant at 20 seconds. He finds it, Sayora!
He's on a heater today. That is his 10th kill, I believe, already in this game.
He's got 7 on this site alone.
7 on this side, just playing it to absolute perfection, coming in. And I'm not even sure what I think I was watching. I mean, the kill came in clearly from the bar, was watching the door instead from the library or blue stairs, whatever you want to call them. And now a tactical timeout gets called by FAV because one man is on a mission, and that mission is to pick up another 3 points of Spear here to close the gap up towards 6th.
It's that frustrating thing here for the side of FAV.
Yeah.
It's not that they're doing everything wrong. You're not sort of insinuating that, but it still seems the points that they alluded to on the desk where you're trying to work out the communication. You're trying to work out the route, regardless of language barriers, regardless of anything. You can still generally get an idea of what a call has been. You can see the movements, the rotations, but it's a struggle to kind of break that out of FAV's approaches sometimes. You're trying to get an impression of what they want to achieve, and you can kind of go, they want to kill this player, they want to kill this player, but the grand picture is blurry until, I guess at that point it comes through.
I mean, from the start of the round, you can clearly see what they're going for, and you have to say their starts of the round, especially on that bar gaming, very effective, able to take that top floor under control with 1 casualty on your side. It just gets problematic once the times runs out, and when Sayora's still alive on a roam, looking to have an impact there. And that is where the communication comes in, because the first kill on the bomb chassis, they knew exactly where he was. And then the other, like, you could have gone off the plan at that point. You could have gone for a 2v2. After your cover dies, and you're still planting, you know that your head is going to be tapped off. So it's just some small mistakes being made, maybe communications missing in the heat of things, calls that don't come through properly, that is allowing Spear to clutch up these rounds, or rather is allowing Sayora to clutch up these rounds, because the man is currently 10 on 2, 10 on 1.
A little bit more sharpness there from Afro on the lead and on the kills game as well. Obviously, you know, we sort of saw a bit of a mistake on the round before that number 2 was then able to clutch out, but if we start seeing a couple more FAV players start to spark into a little bit of life, they need to try and get these last 2 attack rounds if they want to have any basis of grounding here onto this chalet. It's going to have to start coming a little bit more of a spread. The Finker's trying to find a fight outside, and the Crazy Boy decides it's his to take. Gets the hop out, knocks Shin off the board early.
He was thinking about doing that in the last round they played here as well, but then decided, you know what, it might be better if I stay inside. But Spear having 3 rounds on the defense already, they basically do better than the average team in APAC would. A double run out here from the garage coming through. Are they going to find a player on the rappel? Yes, they do. That's a diffuser dropped as well. That needs to be recovered. And that is going to be a massive time spent here, as Ramo well has a player in his sights, but as he was an ADS, not able to reply to it.
I mean, it was clean. They went in with that idea that we're going to definitely net a kill. We might lose somebody in it, but we'll take them down. Waste time. The kit dropping cold. Typon's isolated inside. Number 2, he's doing some of the business over the top that he was able to do on that round that they took here. The pressure and the grenade bounces through, catches them on the rotate out, and there's that coordination that we've started to want to see. That cleanliness that isn't 2 players trying to hit the same firefight, but that little bit of a spread, that little bit of a width to bring themselves back into the 3 versus 3.
Smart play from number 2 there. Wanted to take care of that Banshee for later, but wasn't quite sure if someone was in the hallway right behind it. So instead just uses that drone, uses the information, there's plenty of time to do so. Typon now opening up vertically as well, taking care of some extra pieces of utility, especially ADSs. Those could definitely be hurting you if you clear all the players there. You might want to fire or throw a grenade and suddenly it gets zapped out because you forgot the ADS that was at that position. The breaching charges are coming through, and that is a good position because that desk, that table, is currently unable to be played.
Ramu on the drop gets one, number 2's able to get another, and this is what we wanted to see from the team. The multi-swing round. 3 different directions. They kept the verticality. They had the player on the hatch. And the one swinging from the trophy side. It's something that we've missed from these FAV approaches on the previous round, where they'd end up stacking and sort of incidentally bumping and crossing each other's fire lines. That was so much cleaner that time round. And the team talk, seemingly getting their heads on a little bit more straight. 3-2. They can still pull this one back even.
It can still be a 3-3, but if you look on average, 2 out of 5 rounds are won by the defense on Chalet. Of course, he has 6.5 and already 3-1 by the side of Spear. So they do better than usually a team would do on the defense here, and that will give them an advantage going into that second half. But again, we always say it, there's 2 halves to a game of Siege. And it could just as well mean that FAV turn it all around. If they manage to get the 3-3 now, their defense might be impeccable for the attacks that Spirit Gaming have to toss up. And it could just end this with a 7-4 even. You know, it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, just saying it's an opportunity that we need to be wary of.
First time, we head down to the cellar hold and see if the site is something that brings it back together. The Lion is sticking around. The Pulse didn't quite get the run out on the early player and didn't quite get the run out on the second player, but did at least have a little bit of an impact in terms of getting in, getting aggressive, and getting kills. If it gives them the confidence to try and drive it, maybe they'll start to tweak that and bring it back together. The open wall, the shield, and the swing round with the potential of a man with Seora's glasses behind it.
I was going to say, it's an improvised mirror window. Normally you would put a mirror on that wall. Deciding to not go for it. So you know what? We'll just open up that wall. We put a shield behind it. We play an L in that area. So you can just get the fire. The Shumika's down at the very same time. That's the first EMP, but that's going to be a trick to come through because you cannot EMP an active bandit trigger. You need a grenade. You need a concussion. Not there. And that means one extra thermic left. The last piece of Heartbreach, of course, except for the blowtorch that will now be used to open up the wall instead.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a change of hands there. They're going to make sure that they keep that thermite charge for likely that. The wall that we've just seen get electrified, turning into the default plant spot. They're just tucked in on the side of the wine. If the hatch is locked, then it's easy to do. If the hatch is open, then you've got to get the control of dining as well. And that might be where they're heading off to now, because Roy Boy's there, that hatch is open. So you got to make sure that you get that control of that play space.
I actually like how they open up the snowmobile garage. It's not completely open, it's just a line of sight plus some viewing holes they could use to provide some cover. Leaves the attackers or defenders guessing where you might be if they need to rotate back in at some point. That's the Mozzie drone. Good catch there by Afro. Sees a second one drone now, and they probably knew that only one person was droning at the time, or maybe even two, but knew where the drones were, so you can quickly see which one is the fake one.
They're putting pressure above now. As I said, they need to try and get this control of dining, otherwise there is no way that you'll be able to get a plant out without a hell of a flick shot. Mephi, he's rotating and causing trouble, whether he was heading up and we just caught him on the tail end. Either way, he's decided that the top floor isn't where he wants to be at this point. And to be fair, with a minute left, may as well. You can either try and push that rotate a little bit later, or wait for the pressure to start to come and then collapse around on the back side of it, which it seems like all the top players are doing. They've generally peeled and pulled themselves off entirely outside of Mephi, who's just locked in. They took the hatch drop. They'd rather have the 5 versus 5 fight and see if they can stop the site because, well, the walls are still electrified. They still have some of that control. And sure, a Thatcher Thermite combo should get through it kind of quickly. It's still something that they've got to get done.
Yeah, you need to make sure the Crazy Boy doesn't just pick one up and suddenly goes for it. So that's where the opening of Typhon comes from, as there the breach will come through as well. However, the Shumika's still in play. There's quite a couple of them as well, so if they want to go for the default plans, that might not work. That grenade also too short, and that will actually net a kill to Typhon as well.
Shin has to try and swing and find the fight, and does, but the kit's cold outside. 8 seconds. Seora with another C4, and I said they pulled themselves back to say try and plant, and they definitely made it a challenge. 4 rounds on the defense for Spear. They threw everything at that default plant spot before it even began to be opened.
Like, the wall wasn't even open yet, and they were like, you know what? Let's just toss the Shumikas in already. Make sure they cannot even go quick. As we have a crash happening, that will be a quick pause, waiting for them to get back in, and then we get underway with our second half of this game. But you just said it, Emmy, 4-2 on the defense. That's a massive scoreline. Normally 2 is what you can aim for as a defending team. They have twice the number of that, and they will be heading on towards the attack now. And if they show up with the same aggression they have been throughout this game, they might be able to surprise FAV here and there.
I think now it's that question of their approach, because is this a game of 2 teams that are struggling with attack currently? Maybe. It's 2 teams that are at the bottom of the board, and it's attack-driven meta. You can only really look at their previous games and see how those halves have gone to base those sort of ideas, but at the same time, with this much momentum behind them, with 4-2 on the split, and with the guns that are currently popping off on the side of Spear, you know, it might be another quick day at the office.
Could be. We're about to find out. FAV setting up the defenses, and look at that. That's a Ying currently on the board. Hasn't been. It's been 6 pick 2, eh? Glass as well. Yana, Zofia. Instead of Lion, that is, and a Finka. Now, this shouts to me they might want to go for a bit of a quick-paced plant. They might want to go for some smoke, some candelas, and a glass watching over the shoulder, whereas Crazy Boy runs in to try and get that diffuser down as quickly as he possibly can. And where could that come from? Well, it could come from the window. It could be coming from Solarium. They could even go for just the balcony door. I mean, there's so many opportunities they could go for.
Well, that's it. I think when you see the kit in the pockets of a Candela carrier, you assume the Ying's going to try and make a little bit of a brash and crash movement here. The pressure on all the windows. They've rotated their way up. It's Typon, got himself on trophy stairs. Number 2's in a position to try and offer some support. Just there's the Candela. There's a big win there onto the bathroom window. They're able to find out one elsewhere. Mephi's got it. Crazy Boy's sticking a kit down. Tucked in. Afro waited, baited, and took them out, but instantly traded off on the far side. There's Ramu going for the spray. Gets one. They know where he is, and they know that they can probably get themselves picked up with that kit and get it planted on the far side, which they are doing. They're watching the top of the stairs. Don't need to be massively aggressive on this at this point, just in a position to try and find the fight. Now it is, though, a 3 versus 1, and there's a big gun saying, we know where you are. As soon as he swings his first fight, well, we won't even see the second player.
I was going to say there's 3 players watching this staircase now to know exactly where he's going to be coming from, and they're not backing down. They're stopping him before he can even fully reach that top floor. And with that, a very quick round, a little bit of an oversight as they did not completely clear out the office, which led, of course, to the unlucky one-tap, making sure Crazy Boy couldn't get that plan down. But after that, the quick trades coming in, the quick kills that Spear was able to put on the board really allowed them to turn the tides again quickly after that diffuser was stopped.
Maybe in comp, one of the first plants, if it had gone off, I've seen on the bed from Crazy Boy.
I mean, it's a spot people plant if you know there is people below with nitrous cells, for example.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
Like, I get why they did it, but it's rare to see.
It's rare to
Just
see.
seeing that moment of a man hopped up on the bed, very visible to the people still in the site.
The smoke the smoke was half a meter off. If it pops just a bit earlier, that would have been completely blocked off line of sight and wouldn't be able to actually stop that plant from happening. So yeah, like at that moment in time, like every angle is covered, but the office. So indeed, you go and plant on the bed just to make sure that the nitro cells won't catch you. But unlucky smokes.
Unlucky smokes.
You need to get them in the right position.
From 1 speed to, well, 1 speed. Roy Boy picks up the role of the Monty. This time they've got the Thermite and Thatcher combination. This is something that looks, okay, sure, it's got an Iana and a Finker, but what lineup doesn't nowadays? It's got the idea of more of a standard pace, and with only Kaid Claws as the stop here, they should be able to get this wall open without too much trouble.
The thing is, right, if the Kaid Claw can reach the wall, then the EMP can reach the Kaid Claw. Ooh. That's gonna... Ooh, very smart. Okay, so what he wanted to do there, actually, is it's already activated. You place it on the window, you fire down the one little piece of wood it's on, and it drops down and it like instantly electrifies the wall, but he failed, unfortunately. And he got EMP'd at the same time.
He got EMP'd. I think the EMP was the failure, because it looked like it connected.
It might have.
It might have.
But the EMP just shut it down before it was even able to stop the exit.
Yeah, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
That was a very clever Kaid play that works better when they don't have a Thatcher.
For sure, yeah. You might be able to trick with that at that moment in time. Quick shield taken care of. Wall is now electrified in the meantime, though. Maybe take some tick damage if the attackers would like to move through, but normally this is not where they want to go for the plant. However, a Monty's on the board, and that changes things. They might just as well go for a bin plant with a Monty reversed.
There it is. The Monty's trying to find his way through. It's obviously electrified. He's going to take a little bit of damage and then pull the smoke and take a little bit on the way out the door. Mephi's able to get one. Mephi's taking control of the top. Seora's there as well, and suddenly Spear has started to strike here. Typon, he's also in the job of protecting this claw right now. He's waiting for some of the pressure to otherwise come round, but it's down to, yes, Shin and Afro to see if they can just hold that Monty at bay. There is the C4 too. Maybe that's what Typon's having an explore with. Just tacked out, just getting a bit of the bait and the play. They've still got some idea and support. Roy Boy takes the second canister, a minute for one more, but it's at least finally a kill that comes through. There is the pop of the gun 6. There's the pop of the player. Mephi, the Finker is driving themselves through on the back. The Monty's pressured the player all the way up the stairs. They can't quite win the fight out. Seora goes down as well. Not entirely sure what that was to, but suddenly it's a 2 versus 1. Shinran on the backside. The grenade's just going to make sure he can't swing as the plant goes down from Crazy Boy. That's why it went in uncooked. He's trying to pop the pistol, but it's a post plant. 2 versus 1. 1 on trash. Now they can get themselves tucked out. Shin taking the moment to reload.
I believe there's a rotation coming in from Mephi as well. Yes, going all the way out. Doesn't want to stay inside because they can stop this defuse or counter defuse from outside. They just need to hold a tight angle. Could even go up to the top floor maybe. Play some verticality, not quite sure. No, Mephi stacks himself up onto the garage wall as well. And with 19 seconds left on the clock, Shin really needs to put up some pressure. But from underneath the snowmobile with a tight angle from the backtrack, through the backlight, able to find that kill, lock it out. And that's the second attack in a row, won by Spear, where they didn't take more ground than they needed to. They open up the wall, they send in the Monty, they found 2 kills up above, which is great because it stops forces from coming back. And they go for the plant. They manage to shut it down. Good Gone 6 pop as well at the very same time, allowing Mephi to pick up yet even one more. And now a 6-2. Match point. Not just 1, Emmy, 4. 4 opportunities to find 3 points. Or 6 points, as you would say. It's a 6-point game.
Hap. It's a 6-point game.
Which is really letting FAV, letting them sweat. Because they don't want this to go down this way.
I mean, obviously, FAV used their attack timeout.
Yeah.
In the first half, after they sort of found themselves on the wrong end of, I think it was even the 2-1. Maybe the 3-1. The 3-1. It was the 3-1. They then took the moment, and since then, they've only really been able to net to the 1 immediately after that. Okay, some of the early game was defined by Sayora, but he hasn't stopped. He's kept himself going. Mephi's there combined as well, 10-4. And that not being the highest statistic for your team?
I was going to say, like, Sayora, he dropped 10 kills onto the defending half, right? He only got 2 during the attack, but in the 2 rounds, that is still 100% cost.
That's 100% KPI.
Yeah, exactly. There's 1 KPI. And Mephi, sorry,
it's fine.
out there. But Mephi is definitely stepping up during this second half, during the attack, allowing these openings, these backline pushes to truly come to fruition. With that, Spear have found himself a good duo for this game.
Okay, Taipon, what can you do tucked in here on the pillar position that we've talked about being one of such power before? The early break gives them that rotation underneath if they want to take it, to see if they can lean into maybe applying some pressure towards the underneath of the site itself. You have some grenades. You don't really have the Maverick to burn the hole across the bow, but a quick burn towards those ADSs all the way through. Will the grenades follow? Yes. Bounce around the corner, clears the ADS, and that's the big part of that done, because the second grenade does not quite get the full end of Taipon, but boy, is it close.
Certainly a lot of verticality down there as well. I mean, there was some punches, but those grenades have definitely helped. Taipon still alive, though. That's the most important part. Crazy Boy will find Shin at the other side, though, and that is actually the first hit that happens. Taipon quite low, just needs to sing a bullet, but a nade comes in, pushes him out. Mephi finds the kill, and now the execute starts to arise on the top floor.
I'll talk about that in a second, but first the fight happens over the top of the stairs. They get one and drop back instantly. The right play. They have the castle to give them some rotation. Ramu's getting aggressive, though. He's firing low and high, whether that was a ping on a drone or a bit of an intel. He went for the player first as they popped round and pulls himself back. Cause some problems, and then pull themselves out of the situation. The thing I loved, just before I was about to say, they put the grenade on the left-hand side of the player they had drone out, so they knew he would run to the right. They didn't expect it to down him. They thought maybe he'd survived from the damage before, and they just wanted the gunfight, but they were so prepared and ready for where he would go.
Unfortunately, though, Sayora blocking the line inside of Mephi, making sure they weren't quite able to find Afro. But look at the preparative work they're doing right now. That's a second smoke canister, third smoke canister even popped. 50 seconds still on the clock. That means they will have about 40 seconds to get this diffuser down. Frostmat's already cleared. This, though, number 2 playing this close is going to be the troublemaker. They need to shut him down before he can swing on this window, but they're all stacked up above and below.
I thought there was 3 of them on the window. They've rotated, obviously, to the box, just round on the opposite side. Number 2, as soon as he swings, they're going to get him dropped. There's the kick cold. He rotates off around the back. Ramu suffers the next. Sprayed through against the door, but he doesn't need to put the pressure back on. They're rotating underneath. They've recollected the kit. Are they going to tuck for the plant? They're finding their way around onto the wall. There it is. The bit of width comes through. The spray a bit too high, but now they're going for the plant itself. Number 2, he's seeing if he can try and stop it. He just does. Catches the head of Crazy Boy. 8 seconds, and FAV once again pull themselves back. Number 2 takes the round. The second time he's done that of the 3 that they have.
Number 2 indeed, keeping them in it here, sniping that diffuser, well, once, shutting it down a bit before as well, and then getting that final kill, truly putting the nail into the coffin there. But it's still a 6-3. There's still a big comeback that needs to be made, and as they head towards the kitchen and the dining now, it is Spear that still have a lot of opportunity to close this out. And they will be droning, and they will be, you know, checking the situation, seeing what they need to do to lock out the game at this very moment in time. They still have the attacker repick to make use of. Now, of course, Finka, Mainstay, Hibana, you want the Heart Breach. Sledge, the grenades, they make sense. But they might just go for a pocket play, for a pocket strategy. We might see the sense coming out again.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Love a bit of cheeky sense, don't you?
Especially on this site. I mean,
You do. I've
it on
seen.
Stronghold.
I actually tried to do this play
Have you?
with my friends.
Did it work?
No.
Okay.
One of them accidentally grenaded the sense wall that
yes.
I rolled. And I should have, in hindsight, I shouldn't have been playing sense because it's the easiest roll technically for that.
It is literally go stand here.
Go stand here and throw it through
And
it.
roll it
I
as soon
should
as they
have given
go.
it to somebody else, and then I took the fight inside the site itself. But we didn't, and it didn't work. But it's fun to do. I saw
is
your
fun.
play with Miss Marie.
Yes, going for CCTV. Stole that from BDS, I think. At least from some of the teams. I don't know who.
Yeah. Well, that's all of what I do.
All I said is like you just go, okay, I toss this thing in, you just push rafters. You get that kill, we have a free plant. That's as simple as that. It worked out. That one did.
Perfectly.
Finding some drones here, Shin, or at least pre-firing to see if there was any. Didn't think he'd find any of those drones. Now, with 2 players up, repelled near Solarium, and Type-Up is quite close, but you have to remember that this staircase here, especially if you start ripping into that C4, is often prone to grenades. And that's why there's 3 ADSs placed on the exact same position. Now, they could, of course, work with those flashbangs that NL carries. They can then toss in the grenade of Mephi, but it needs to be in very quick succession, otherwise Type-Up has an opportunity to move out.
You also have Ramu. He's in a place where he might be able to swing round. The first one doesn't quite get the pop on the ADS. The second does, so that grenade's going to get caught, and... oh, that flash gets
It's
it.
on the
There's
ledge.
the roll, and yeah, no, that was unfortunate. One ADS, I think, might even still be standing. Type on sure is. The C4 doesn't get the catch on the player. The drone does. You can hear the gridlocks on the back end. He's just going to deal with them whilst he has a moment to, but again, the fact that they got all the ADSs, but it's cost them quite a lot. Someone else is having to rotate up. I think it's the... maybe even the sledge.
There's 3 people now. They're going to go for the repel in. Double repel in. Are they going to be able to pick up the kill? Yes, and not even a trade coming out. But it's Ramu that's tucking close. Will be jumping down. Now might be caught off. No, not from the window. Will still stand. And they still have the position in hand and a man advantage.
Number 2, once again, finds a double. Does the X-Kairos first and the drone second. It was risk Spear, and it didn't quite pay off. You knew that all of your presence had sort of been advertised as being in that location. The EU1D movement didn't quite come together. And now they're just hoping that they can maybe get a grift and a thrift on a freebie. But as we saw in the previous round, FAV, they're more than happy to pull themselves back. Zayora's finding a fight there through towards Shin. Takes a lot of damage, but not enough to end him. There is obviously still the pressure waiting from Crazy Boy and hoping they can force this player out of this position at this moment in time. But there's no one else to really force it. There's no pocket utility. There's nothing.
Well, they could have actually sent Crazy Boy down, used the super shorty that comes in with the gridlock to open up below, at least create a bit of an angle, make sure that they're further up the stairs, which provides you some freedom. But Crazy Boy is currently occupied with holding the angle, make sure that they cannot actually walk off there. So with NL now joining the party here near West Main, he's definitely looking like he might be able to find a different angle to achieve the goal that they're looking for the entire round so far. No, just Ramu should have down. Never mind.
Well, Zayora's got a kill inside the site, and then Afro is able to find Crazy Boy, leaving just Zayora inside the site. He's driven himself and taken out the Echo, but the kit being a little bit isolated in only 10 seconds. Well, he's found one more, but there's 2. One's on the stairs, one's rotated, I believe, all the way off to Narnia. Out of time, and the round difference gets 1 thinner.
Two more opportunities for Spear now to try and close this off for a full 3-pointers, and suddenly it's starting to get a bit close. Wondering if we might see a tactical timeout to appear. Maybe to wait one more round before they call it. Because it's still a match point. They still have a bit of buffer before the overtime starts coming in. A fuse just quickly shown there by Royboy. But picked off again towards the sledge. We're headed towards Wine Cellar and Snowmobile. Now, I've seen them play with that Monty before. Yes, of course, Monty did unfortunately take a bullet to the head as soon as he unshielded. Not quite the impact you wanted to go for. But you managed to get the plant down. But you managed to set up the crossfires. You were able to stop them from retaking the site. You were able to win. Put yourselves up onto a match point. Now you have the opportunity to lock it off here, to close it off. Now there is some fire being set up to stop any players from planting down there. It's the Goyo canisters or hot pockets. Unfortunately, we cannot see it due to the staircase being in the way. Also one being put onto the breach here. So if they do open up the breach, that is going to pop and will prevent a quick push from the side of Spear Gaming. They cannot open it and run in because it will just burn alive.
All right, Spear. Let's take a moment. It's gotten a little bit wild, a little bit loose. We saw some very tight play, and I get the idea of throwing yourself into that position, but when you've already burnt that much utility, sometimes the sort of slapdash idea of throw ourselves in and try and kill everybody in the room, it's not a standard reliance. It's something that's gone well, and you did get the first, but FAV have obviously since then stepped up. They're learning. They're having a little bit more awareness of kind of each other more than what you're doing, and that each other awareness was something they definitely didn't have in the opening half of this game where you took most of it. The pressure comes through, that wall should get opened up, the Monty is instantly ready.
Yeah, he can't go for that rush because of the fire. For a second I was afraid they might want to send in Royboy instantly. Been a lot of damage done. But they'll drone it out instead, and we'll be trying to gain some of the information. Shin will have to fall back because they realize what's going on. So that fireplace might become a bit of an issue, so they need to start taking that under control. Number two, of course, doing that from the rafters, from above. As the rest of Spear looking to prepare themselves to go for a bit of a quick push.
And that's it. They're trying to bait some of that play out, bait that utility. The pressure still is going to come around onto the top. There's most likely an opening. Very well played and placed there. Mephi takes out number two. Takes out the biggest problem causer that they've suffered on the opposite side of FAV, and now's the time for the other players to step into the mantle of the man that has taken pretty much 50% of FAV's rounds for them. Ramu's creeping his way closer towards the chance of the plant here. Typon's on the swing. Spear Gaming currently aren't opening up anything else as of yet. They're seemingly full sacking and sending the plant idea around on the back. The Monty's hoping somebody swings out, but look at this. Ramu, he's prepped. He's got special glasses, and he's got the spray right through. Just misses Sayora! Has the cover at the best possible time. A lot of damage was done. And now there's a Monty in front of the kit. They had a second of an idea of breaching it open. Afro smokes his way up out of blue, forces the player, is chasing somebody all the way. The sprint might give some of the audio away. And there it is. Mephi has a very easy pickup job, is looking for the next. Tavinka on the top floor outside of the window. Doesn't really need to be in this situation. Royboy's suffering inside the site. Some pressure. Batted against him, and he gets the drop shot.
With a Monty. I mean, the knife drop shot kill. I mean, it's fair, I guess.
Trade. And it's 10 seconds, 9, and it's all she wrote. Spear Gaming take the 3 points at the end. FAV started to look like a team that could do more, but it was unfortunately a story of too little, too late.
Started to come back, but not enough. And Royboy putting out his...
he's written his name
on his handkerchief? What is that? Oh, he just froze. All right, that's how he wants to go out. Just with Royboy and the screen of Royboy.
Roy, I want a tweet that just says from the socials, Royboy, with Royboy.
That's the tweet.
That's the tweet.
But also, Sayora. Incredible game from him. Mephi able to step up during the attack, especially as well. And with that, Spear able to find 3 points, but also denied 3 points from the side of FAV. And with that, they have closed the gap to 6th, allowing themselves to truly put their eyes onto stage 3 to avoid relegations.
And that is it from us two for APAC North for this split. It's been a wonder and a pleasure as always. There is still one more game and still one more desk. Still on 2 more desks at least.
Yeah, 2 more.
But who watches
Or
those?
3, because you have
I
to
don't
get
know.
post-game.
We'll find out after a very quick break and some more finger guns.